Well, happening now, the president is set to nominate a new Secretary of the Treasury. His name, Jack Lew, the current White House Chief of Staff. The nomination not without controversy, as most are not these days, as Mr. Lew's reputation truly precedes him in this case. Some in the Senate seeing him as overly rigid. I should say the Senate and the House on Capitol Hill see him as overly rigid and not particularly willing to make concessions and negotiate. Wyoming Senator John Barrasso is chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee as well. Senator, nice to have you back on the program.
Thank you, Jenna.
I was looking at one report from Bob Woodward in 2011. He wrote about this in his book, The Price of Politics, that Speaker Boehner apparently told Woodward that he asked the president to keep Jack Lew at the White House, to not send him to Capitol Hill because he was tired of hearing the word no so many times. What's your reaction to this nomination?
Well, Jack Lew is very partisan and he's very political. But the fundamental problem, Jenna, are the president's policies and the president's addiction to spending. I mean, to me, that's the bigger issue. We are $16 trillion in debt. It is the greatest threat to our national security. And yet Jack Lew and the president think that spending isn't the problem. Wasteful government spending is the problem. Well,
you've had 4 years of the president in his current role. You also have had time to get to know Jack Lew in a couple different roles. So knowing what you know, knowing that these are known entities, if you will, what's your strategy?
Well, he's going to have to testify in the Senate and talk about what his plans are for growing the economy and getting people back to work and getting the spending down. That's the fundamental problem that we face as a nation. And this really is a national necessity. It's not some partisan approach. So when the president during the debt ceiling negotiation said spending isn't the problem, you know, he's living in denial as where we are as a nation. And Jack Lew is going to have to come to the Senate and tell the American people what his thoughts are about the spending and how he plans to address it in light of the upcoming fight and debate over raising the debt ceiling and ongoing spending in this country.
What new ideas will you present to Jack Lew if the nomination does go through to solve the problems that you're mentioning?
Well, there are a couple of things, and when you take a look at the upcoming debt ceiling, you know, I think it'd be really good if the Senate actually passed a budget. The Senate of the United States hasn't passed a budget in over 3 years. You know, why is that? Harry Reid has held the American public hostage by not presenting a budget. I know the White House is running behind in their budget proposal. The White House budget proposal last year got no Republican votes and got no Democrat votes. So if we want to look at what's best for our country in the future, we have to look at dealing with the spending from the standpoint of our own national security. We are vulnerable right now.
But there's no accountability, right, Senator? I mean, this has been going on, and so far there's no budget and there's no budget. What can the American people do? What will it take to actually get that?
Well, and it's a violation of the law. The Senate and Congress has to pass a budget, but yet they refuse to do it. And they take Harry Reid takes his orders from the top. The president obviously doesn't want a budget, doesn't want to face up to his own spending addiction, which is putting us more dependent to other nations and specifically China. And that is the big problem with this administration and the failure of the president to lead on the issue of spending. We need to come together as a nation dealing with the nation's spending addiction and get the country's finances in order if we want to stay an international leader.
Well, we'll see if this year produces different results. Senator Barrasso, nice to have you with us. Look forward to having you back.
Thanks, Jenna.